Alright, guys, welcome back to Road to Gold. I'm your co host, Arav.
And I'm your other co-host, Jaden.
Today, we're breaking down the NBA MVP race. This year has been one of the craziest MVP races of all time, with four different players who all have a serious case for the award this season: Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Victor Wembanyama.
I'm going to be covering 3-time MVP, 7-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, 2023 Finals MVP, and NBA champion Nikola Jokic. And your 2025 MVP, 2025 NBA champion, and Finals MVP, 4-time All-Star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
And I've got six-time All-Star, 2019 Rookie of the Year, five times All-NBA superstar Luka Doncic, and two-time All-Star, 2024 Rookie of the Year, and two-time Defensive All-NBA Victor Wembanyama. We'll each go a bit deeper into our guys, and then bring it all together at the end.
All right, man, I guess I'll start with Jokic. At this point, his numbers, they don't really make sense for a center, bro. He's averaging 27 points, 10 rebounds, and about 13 assists per game as a center. He's averaging a triple-double this season, which is incredibly impressive. What really stands out for me, though, has just been his efficiency. He's shooting over 57% from the field, and his decision-making is just straight-up elite. He rarely focuses on shots, and he absolutely controls the game.
So, do you think voters' fatigue will play a role in the Joker's MVP chances? At some point, these numbers just feel expected from Jokic.
It might. He's already won MVP multiple times. And sometimes voters look for a new story, but if you're looking at the pure value, he's right there. You could argue Jokic should have won multiple MVPs prior to the voter fatigue. But this year, I think he has a much better chance. He's become a victim of his own greatness. But Denver is still one of the top teams in the West, for sure. And everything runs through him, and he's elevating everybody around him at the same time.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about Jokic for me. The insane difference he makes for the Nuggets. If you look at Jaylen Brown, a player who's fifth in the MVP ranking, the Celtics seem to perform just as well when he's on or off the court, whereas the Nuggets really struggle in stretches where Jokic isn't on the court.
Overall, Jokic, he's got to be one of the greatest centers to ever play the game. He's putting up numbers that just really don't make sense, man. All while looking at Nick super easy on the court. Nuggets are currently right now, I think, the number 3 seed in the West, and Jokic has had a serious case because of the Nuggets' success. The team success is so important, and we'll come to learn with some other names in the race too. Now we're going to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors for this episode, and that's going to be Subway. Eat fresh.
Big thanks to our sponsors as always. I really do love Subway. Alright, I'll jump in with Luka. Statistically, he might be having the best individual season out of anybody in the race. He's putting up about 33 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds per game.
Luka is pretty incredible. He's definitely one of my favorite players to watch, although being a Suns fan out here, it's kind of tough having to play him in the division. But the skill set, I gotta admit, it's insane.
You probably have some nightmares about that playoff series. And
Oh, God.
he's doing all of this while being the primarily ball handler on almost every possession. His usage rate is one of the highest in the league. Being able to put up these numbers while running the entire offense is truly impressive.
Despite all that, he's still one of the most efficient players in the league. He's shooting 40% from the field.
Yeah, and all of that considered, Luka has still had some crazy dominant performances this year, with multiple 40 and 50-point games. He's the current scoring leader in the league, which is just ridiculous with the amount of talent. One of the worries with Luka, though, is the injuries. He was worked to the bone with Dallas, especially after his finals run. If he misses more games, he might risk losing eligibility for the award. He just got injured recently, didn't he?
Yeah, I think you're right. I thought I seen a notification that it might be indefinitely, but I don't know the full report yet. It could be for the rest of the year. We'll have to keep on looking for it. But injuries are definitely one of the worst parts of sports. I hope Luka is able to fully recover and continue to showcase his greatness. One thing that has always stood out to me with Luka is how he was able to create his own shots. He's one of the best players, let alone in the league today. But of all time, when it comes to shot selection, he's got to be up there. Being able to witness some of his greatness in real time really is something special.
Definitely, I have to agree. Overall, Luka is one of the greatest scorers to ever touch a basketball. After being taken away from the team he thought he would retire with, seeing him show up for the Lakers is truly amazing. If this were a different year where there weren't so many generational talents, he'd be a clear shot for that MVP.
I 1,000% agree. I don't understand what Dallas was thinking with that trade, and I'm glad they fired Nico, in my own
He had to
personal
go.
opinion. He had to go. All right, well, I'm going to move on to my second player, and that's going to be Shea Gilgeous. From nearby Hamilton, Ontario, as you viewers who watch us, you must know that we record live here from Toronto. So it's hard to not root and appreciate Shea, am I right?
That's true.
Now, back to the meat and potatoes. Shea has taken a whole new step this season. He's averaging about 31 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's doing all this off, again, great efficiency. That we've been seeing this from a guard since, I don't know. And, I mean, he's literally on track to have one of the most efficient seasons for a guard of all time.
That is some seriously crazy stuff. Shooting 51% from the field is just insane for someone who has to control the offense of one of the top teams in the league. So, quick shout out to our second sponsor of the episode, Gatorade, Win From Within.
Gotta love Gatorade, always keeping you hydrated. Anyways, that's gonna bring me to my next selling point for Shea. The Thunder are the best team in the West, easily, with a record currently of 61-16. Like mentioned earlier, team success is incredibly important when it comes to that MVP race. You can't be on like a bad team per se, the Wizards, and still be in the MVP combo. Shea is leading his team to another dominant season right now, and he's definitely, obviously, the biggest selling point, one of the biggest selling points for the MVP race.
Yeah, I mean, if the Thunder end up finishing first in that Western Conference, it's going to be hard to deny his MVP case.
1,000%. There are hardly any negative currently surrounding Shea when it comes to the case for MVP, although the free throws. The only thing that I can think of that the Thunder are incredibly well-rounded and a team that is just straight up built for success, especially within the West. And that's something that you can't fault Shea for.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there is something else with Shea, and it's been the foul baiting. Fans around the league have shared how much they dislike how Shea is able to reach the free throw line with ease, but honestly, it doesn't matter. He's one of the best in the game, and when it comes to getting to the line, it's a part of the game. It seems MVP voters don't really care about that as he won it last year.
But Shea, he really brought his game to the next level. Overall, Shea is another player who's in for another year for another clear shot of that MVP. Boosting, again, the ridiculously efficiency that he's been having. And scoring all while being on the best team in the league, it's got to be up there.
Just crazy. Alright, well, last but definitely not least, Victor Wembanyama. Wemby is averaging around 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game. Now, these numbers might seem a little underwhelming compared to the other names on the list, but Wemby's currently on a minutes restriction with the Spurs, so when you factor that in, you start to realize why these stats are so crazy. But the biggest thing about Wemby is his defensive impact.
That's very true. Sometimes his defensive impact doesn't just get shown on the stat sheet, despite averaging an insane 3 blocks per game. You see him coming out to the perimeter, he's guarding all 5 positions on the court, which you just don't see from a player at his size.
Being able to guard all 5 positions is truly an underrated stat in this game. Yeah, so Wemby can feel like a black hole in the center of the court to opposing teams. It's mesmerizing to watch professional NBA teams avoid the paint like it's the plague, simply because of Wemby's presence. Watching him play really does feel like a cheat code from 2K.
Well, he's definitely a cheat code when I play 2K. Now, Wemby is playing on a different level right now than the rest of the league, all while sitting at 7'4".
Yeah, another thing about Wemby is that similar to Jokic, he makes a huge difference for the Spurs. With Wemby, they were projected to win around 40 games this season, but with Wemby making a huge leap, they're at an incredible 59 wins right now, and the season isn't even over. Another absolutely mind-bending stat is that when Wemby is off the court, the Spurs are at a 0-0 plus-minus, meaning they're going about even with the other team. But when Wemby is on the court, the Spurs jump to a crazy plus 17. This is just insane to be able to make such a difference on the court.
Wow, he really does make an impact like that. And 59 wins, I remember a couple years ago they were not that good. I didn't realize they had 59 wins. That's pretty impressive. And it's crazy that the Spurs being second in the stacked Western Conference is going to help his case incredibly.
Definitely. Overall, Wemby makes the biggest difference for his team when he's on the court. His incredible defensive impact, coupled with his offensive game, he's truly one of a kind. Wemby is without a doubt another player who could easily win this award in another season, but again, 2026 is one of the craziest MVP races we've ever seen. Quickly, to break this all down, Jokic, He's the most consistent and all-round dominant player. Shea brings that elite scoring and top-tier team success. Luka is having a generational and historic season individually, while Wemby is a defensive game changer with a rising offensive game.
All right, let's wrap this segment up. Who do you think should win the MVP? What do you think?
For me, I think it has to be Wemby. I'm someone who truly values defense in a player, and Wemby's impact on both sides of the court is just extremely impressive to me. All of the other players on this list, don't get me wrong, are generational offensive players, but none of them are extremely proficient on the defensive end. The other thing that sells it for me is that crazy stat. Plus 17 when he's on the court is just something I can't deny. In the most valuable player list, a stat like that really sells his case. It's safe to say the Spurs have their next talent for the coming years.
I truly do love your arguments that you're bringing up here. To counteract that, I'm going to have to go for my MVP choice. I'm going to have to be Jokic. He deserves it in my eyes just because he impacts every part of the game at an extreme elite level. And while all not just being a scorer, which a lot of people just view the MVP as, who averages the most points. He's an offensive wizard, in my opinion, who's constantly doing it consistently night after night. He's putting up near triple doubles, night in, night out, off ethical play, simply done like no other. No matter what team or what player you are, you have to adapt and play at Jokic's pace. He's just straight up a dictator on the court, and he elevates his team in the competition to a new level. And this is what you should be getting out of your MVP, in my opinion. Quite possibly, could be one of the best all time, all said and done. But definitely my 2025-2006 MVP. Now, before we move on, we're going to answer some of your questions that you guys want to talk about some of the players that are just outside of the top four.
Well, as the resident Celtics fan of this podcast, I'll handle number 5. Jaylen Brown is having an incredible season, averaging 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. This season, Jaylen has taken the lead role in the Celtics, with Jason Tatum missing most of the season after tearing his Achilles in the playoffs last year. Jaylen Brown has already shown his greatness, winning Finals MVP despite sometimes playing in Tatum's shadow. But anybody who's watched the Celtics knows Jaylen Brown is an incredible individual player.
See, me being a Suns fan, even when I tune into the Celtics games, real ball knowers know Jaylen Brown, he's definitely not overshadowed. But some people would say that he's held back by Tatum. What's your overall opinion on that?
Well, I don't want to sit here and talk about Tatum, as he's not the focus of this podcast, but that narrative has been used just for media talk. JB and JT have been one of the best duos in the league since they've been introduced, and I hope to see them win another ring.
Well, I don't want to see the Celtics win another ring, but you can't deny that they've definitely been a dominant duo since joining the league.
Well, that's fair enough. But overall, Jaylen Brown's current case just doesn't match up with the top 4. Now, this isn't a slight on Jaylen Brown. As you should all know by now, the top 4 are just on a completely different level.
Alright, finally we have someone who's been slightly in the shadow since his win with the 2019 Raptors. As you know, I'm talking about the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is another player who raises his team to a complete different level when he's on that court. Similar to Wemby, Kawhi has always been an extremely defensive-minded player. Over the years, he's developed that three-point shot, and his mid-range game has been truly devastating for anybody to play up against. He's been evolving, aging like fine wine.
For sure. I love Kawhi. Being from Toronto, Kawhi will always have a special place in my heart. I'm not a Raptors fan, but the impact he had on the city and celebrating that championship in the city is a moment I'll truly never forget. He's one of the greatest of all time, and although it's unlikely he wins the MVP this year, it's great to see him having another good season in LA. Alright, to finish up this episode, we're going to have some questions from our loyal fans. The first question is from OKC Fan 24/7. He says, I think Shea should win MVP. People who claim he's a free throw merchant are just plain wrong. Can you guys talk more about this?
Alright, I think I'll handle this one. Like we said earlier, people who claim Shea is a free throw merchant are usually just from the opposing fan base. Shea's game really is truly deeper than just drawing free throws, and we see that every single night. His ability to score at such a high volume on minimal shot attempts elevates OKC's game to a whole new level. I'm pretty sure he just broke the record this year of Kareem for consecutive 20-point games. That is not something done by just getting free throws. He completely has elevated that game.
That's a record I thought I'd never see broken, to be honest. Well, that's a great answer overall, and I have to agree. As a Celtics fan, I've never been a big fan of Shea, but I have to respect his greatness.
You just have to. The next question is from HoopsFan23. If you had to start a franchise today, which one of these 4 players would you be picking?
That's a good one. I think I'm gonna have to say Wemby.
I meant to say Jokic, yeah?
Yeah. Well, Jokic gives you a championship window right now, but if I'm starting fresh, I'm taking the 22-year-old with a 7'4 frame and the skills of a guard.
Here, that's a lot of potential right there. Honestly, though, I think I'd just still have to go Jokic. You get elite production immediately. And although you get that immediate impact with Wemby too, with Jokic, you're getting someone who you can develop and win a chip right now with that experience. All right, now here's a fun one. Who do you think wins in a 1v1 bracket from these 4? And I already know your answer.
Yeah, I think you know my answer too. Again, I have to go with Wemby. Seriously, who's scoring on that guy? Let alone having to guard a 7'4 demon. And with no free throws, Shea has no chance. That was a joke, Thunder fans.
I don't know. Jokic just might have everyone down. Just might back everybody down for those 10 straight possessions.
That's true. These guys are just incredible. All of them seem so unguardable. It might just come down to who makes a mistake first. Alright, our final question is from LeBron the GOAT 12. Do you think team success or individual stats are more important?
That's a great question, LeBron the GOAT. I'd say it's both team success. It's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I think team success is important because even if you're having a great season, if your team isn't winning, something isn't adding up. Being the most valuable player means you have to be able to do both.
Now, a little bit of news here. We've actually recently come up with some Roll to Gold merch.
Yep, we have hoodies and t-shirts. Get them now, guys. I'm telling you, they're really good.
Everything in our item shop is currently 20% off, so make sure you come get your online merch today.
Well, it's been a great year of basketball so far, hasn't it?
And it's been a brilliant year. It's really a tough one to narrow it down to an MVP. There's honestly just so many good contenders right now. Was there anything that we missed? You guys have to start with the MVP talk. Be sure to like and share. And that's been enough for on this episode of Road to Gold. As always, I'm your co-host, Jaden.
And co-host The Rap. We'll see you guys in the next episode.